topic is why we should not use single-use plastic items. So single-use plastics, not only are they unnecessary, but they cause pollution in oceans as well as contribute to climate change. A University of Cambridge study showed that 9.2 billion plastic bottles are disposed of each year, and as of 2005, only about 7% of those were recycled. Single-use plastics hurt our ocean life, which is a food supply for a large population of the people on Earth, and their production releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. According to a study done by the Surfrider Foundation, so basically they're produced by petroleum products, that is ethane and propene, which are extracted and made into ethylene, which is the base for polyethylene, which is the most common plastic. The problem is that there are better, more sustainable options. They just aren't as common. And plastics also release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere when they degrade in the sunlight, and they release ethylene back into the atmosphere. So they're bad in their production and pollution, as well as after they've already been created. Anyone can make this change. So here are some reusable alternatives to single-use plastics. So the first one is a bamboo straw instead of a plastic straw. Bamboo can be regrown really quickly, so it's one of the most sustainable options instead of like wood or paper. This is the best option for that. And then to replace plastic food wrap, I have this product called Bee Wrap, and this is just basically cloth coated in beeswax. And so they have their own website that you can get this on. And then I carry my water in a hydro flask, but you can get really any reusable water bottle. It doesn't have to be that brand. This one just keeps it cold for a really long time. And when I go to the grocery store, I use these little net bags for my produce instead of those thin little plastic bags that they have. And then for the groceries, I bring these that fit in a pouch, and then they unfold, and it's just this big bag. You can fit a lot of stuff in it, and they're washable. They can hold like 50 pounds. So those are nice. And then if you do have to use a disposable option, there are plenty of compostable products. Like these are compostable straws that are a good alternative, but obviously use a bamboo one or something more durable if you can. So those are just a few things that I use in my life to be more sustainable. And according to the Surfrider Foundation, the plant-based straws are made out of PET, which is just a plant-based material, and they actually decompose, whereas normal plastic does not decompose for millions of years. So that's a cool thing. And then if everyone were to make the decision to change now, maybe we could prevent the irreversible damage to our planet. And plastic alternatives aren't cheap, so that's a downfall. A study done by BBC Capital showed that paper straws are 2 times more expensive to produce than plastic. The same study used a comparable carbon footprint cost analyzer to determine that glass only costs about 1 cent more than plastic to produce, but since it weighs more, it costs a lot more to ship, and so that's why it's not an ideal alternative. The most ideal alternative is aluminum, and in a mass production scenario. So we still need to put the health of our planet over money, but if we're looking for something that can be pretty cheaply recycled and put, like, you can take an aluminum can, recycle it, and then it can be cleaned and put right back on the shelf as another aluminum can. Whereas with glass, that doesn't really happen. And then plastic, if you recycle a plastic bottle, it's generally not going to be made into another plastic bottle. So that's why aluminum is a really good, relatively inexpensive alternative for mass production and like single-use options. And then, of course, carrying your own water bottle or carrying your own thing to carry liquid in is always going to be the better option, because then that takes away the need for a single-use item at all. Something that you can reuse is always better than something that you only use once in terms of sustainability. And so I'm sure a lot of people know about the global momentum to ban plastic straws. And of course, just doing that is not enough, but it's a really good step. And a New York Times article by Adam Graham actually showed that while that momentum is pretty global, a cruise ship industry isn't doing as much as they should be. So in his article he mentions that Royal Caribbean is only putting limits on how much single-use plastic products they use, and they aren't doing total bans, which doesn't really look good for them. So as consumers, we should be looking into companies that are making an effort to be more sustainable, and we should be spending money on them and supporting them rather than supporting the companies that aren't really making an effort. So as consumers, where we spend our money can really impact the industry, and it can push companies to change if people aren't buying their stuff anymore. So we can all make an effort to reduce the need for unnecessary single-use items, and this is because they aren't only damaging to animals, but they contribute to climate change, which affects every single living thing on Earth. So please make the choice to change your habits and help promote a better future. Thank you.